Hey Cupcakes, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to make these Jungle Book cookies. We are making Mowgli and Baloo today, so let's jump right into it and get started. So I'm starting out with this stencil. This is just a picture of Mowgli that I printed from the internet and covered it in tape just to secure it from the oils. So I took this onto some cookie dough and I cut it. As you can see, the cookie dough spread when I baked it, so it's a little bit bigger, but that is perfectly fine. Here I have another set of this little stencil, but I cut his hair out. This was actually a mistake. So you just want to keep it together first, and with a pin or something sharp, I am tracing it over just to have a guide to where I'm going to go ahead and pipe on the frosting. So as you can see, we can see the little stencil right on the cookie. In this Ziploc bag, I have some royal icing, black royal icing, and I'm just cutting a tiny bit off of the bag. So just a little bit comes out. This is 30-second icing, which means that it stays in place and it stays firm. But it is also good because if you pipe a lot of it, it will pool up and become smooth. So that's pretty awesome. So as you can see, Mowgli has some strands of hair that are kind of poking out that I didn't include in the stencil, so I'm including those now. It looks kind of funny, but it will all come together later on. So I've let this icing dry for about 20 minutes. As you can see, it's dull and it's not as shiny. So I'm taking Mowgli's hair here and I'm going to use a pin to trace the inner parts of his hair. And with that same piping bag, or that same Ziploc bag, I'm going to go ahead and outline his hairline. Again, I'm going to let this dry for around 20 minutes. But before that, I went in and I filled everything in. And then also with a pin or a toothpick or just something small and sharp, I'm making small circles into the icing to smoothen it out. And also to smoothen it out, you can go ahead and tap the cookie on to whatever place you're working on, or even kind of shake it a little bit. So I'm going to let that dry for around 20 to 30 minutes, and with some skin colored royal icing, I'm going to go ahead and make small circles with the pin just to smoothen out the royal icing. You can also tap it and shake it just to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. So I let that dry for around 30 minutes, and with the pin I'm going to go ahead and sketch out where his eyes, nose, and mouth are going to be. It's very hard to see right now in the video, but you don't want to dig the pin into the royal icing. You just want to make little scratch marks. And this is just going to be a small guide. So you can see the marks right there. It looks a little crazy or scary, but yeah, they're very helpful and useful. So with some white royal icing, I'm just piping little dots of where I want the eyes to be, and with a pin, I'm going to go ahead and make the full eyes, and it's just very easy to get detailing with the pin rather than trying to pipe out the shapes straight away. So I'm going to do the same thing for his mouth. And since this is a light layer of royal icing, I'm just going to let this dry for around 20 minutes and it should be okay. With a brush and some black food coloring, I'm going to go ahead and pipe on the rest of the details. So his eyebrows, his eyes, nose, and mouth. You can do this with the black royal icing if you want to, but for me it's just a little bit easier for me to get more detailing this way. So yeah, and then we're gonna let this dry for around, well, if you are just letting the paint dry, that's around like 30 minutes, but I'm gonna let it dry overnight to make sure that all of the layers of the royal icing are fully dry. And after that, we are done with Mowgli. So now we're going to move on to Baloo, and same goes for him. I printed out his picture, cut it out, covered it in some tape, and now I'm going to trace his outline with the pin. And then I'm going to use the black royal icing just to outline what I traced. So the stencil with the tape on it is just for the cookie dough, just to protect it from the butter and the oils, so that we can use this over and over again. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw and pipe on all of Baloo's details. Now you can cut out all of the pieces from the stencil, trace them, and then pipe them on with the royal icing, but for me it was just easier to eyeball it, so I started out with the nose and then went on to pipe all of the line work. And now I'm going to let this dry for around 20 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in I just keep wanting to call him Mowgli, Baloo's dark fur. So this is some dark gray royal icing, and again you want to smoothen it out by making small circles. Now because these next few colors are not going to actually touch because they are separated by the black lines, you don't need to let them dry fully, so you can just go ahead and fill the rest of Mowgli in. So I'm going to go ahead and use some gray royal icing and fill in his nose and the bottom portion of his mouth. And with some light red royal icing, I'm going to go ahead and fill in his tongue. And again, always use a pin to smoothen it out. For me, that's the best way. And then I'm going to fill in his eyes. You want to make sure that the tongue is at least 20 minutes dried before you draw on his teeth, just to make sure that that white royal icing doesn't sink into the royal icing. Now with a paintbrush, I'm just going to go ahead and draw on Baloo's pupils. I feel like I kept calling him Mowgli. Sorry guys. But these are the finished cookies. I hope you guys like them. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. I love you. Bye.